who will follow and who will be addressed, by which the law will be exercised. So the labor code as amended. So first of the contracts, employment contracts. So will be about contracts. Now, the Constitution, no, state policy. According to Section 18, the state affirms labor a primary social economic force. It shall protect the rights of workers and promote their welfare. And definitely, yes, that is true. No? Nabasa na niyo, Pas? Nakala niyo ang kuha ko.
Basa
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Excuse me.
Sir.
It shall protect the rights of workers and at the same time promote their welfare. That is the Constitution wherein it serves with the people. Ng policy. So diha no ang usa ka from the labor no considering the social economic force, the labor as the social economic force. Of course, without labor, walay trabaho ang mga tao. Dako kayo og impact na maka-minus sa kining income from government, no? Ang ilang budget para sa tanan. So, let's proceed with the next slide. Article number 13 of labor, section 3. So the state shall afford full protection to labor, local and overseas, organized and unorganized, and promote full employment and equality to employment opportunities for all. Meaning to say, it doesn't matter if ang imong gitrabahuan, part another, a labor local, it could be a local within the country or outside of the country, and organized and organized. So, organized, of course, if that is a legit company, inalaw man lang tao, pakyaw, or unsa nga sistema, or you are a regular by status, diya sa trabahoan. So, of course, that's part will be covered from the labor code, and also to promote full employment and equality of employment opportunities. So, without biases, without prejudices about race and sex. So it shall guarantee the rights for workers to organization, collective bargaining. As I mentioned a while ago, this is the agreement between employer and the group of employees and with their negotiations. And also a peaceful or concerted activities, including the right to strike in accordance with law. So when can we say that strike is in accordance with law? When there is approval coming from the letter that they had requested to can proceed with strike. If there are any complaints, if there are any concerns coming from our in relations to work, they shall be entitled to security of tenure, so humane conditions of work, so of course makatawhanon nga pagtatar sa pagtrabaho, and a living wage. So of course, the wage to be received, is living wage, good, because it actually emphasizes the kind of wage that is sustainable to supplement their daily needs. They shall also participate in policy and decision-making processes affecting the rights and benefits as may be provided by the law. Asking introduction, no? But that is very important, so at least it will be infused sa inyong mind. So the state shall promote the principle of shared responsibility between workers and employers and the preferential use of voluntary modes in settling disputes. Setting disputes are kung na mga disagreements, na mga misunderstandings, including conciliation if needed, and shall enforce the mutual compliance therewith to foster industrial peace. Very simple, no? It's very understandable. The state shall regulate the relations between workers and employers, recognizing the right of labor to its just share in the fruits of production and the right of enterprise to reasonably returns of investments and for expansions and growth. So that's the concern of labor. Meaning to say, it is not just siding to one side, also it is also protecting the right of the investors. So on both sides, no? Wala siya ningon na mga mamumuo. So labor code of the Philippines is amended. So Article 3, Declaration of Basic Policy, the state shall afford protection to labor, promote full employment, ensure quality of work opportunities regardless of sex, race, or creed, and regulate the relations between workers and employers. And the state shall assure the rights of workers to self-organization, collective bargaining, security of tenure, and just and humane conditions of work. So part of that is also an opportunity for personal, professional, and spiritual growth. So next, Article 4. What is the under Article 4? Construction in favor of labor. Sa man siya trabaho, dili, no? Construction, how it was actually being made, how it was actually being arranged. All doubt in the implementation and interpretation of the provisions of this code, including its implementing rules and regulations, shall be resolved in favor of labor. So meaning to say, if there are questions about the legality of the procedures, it should always be addressed, and it aims not to harmonize. It aims to kanang ipasabot no sa matag habit isip parehas na adunay katungod both the employer and employee. That's what I am referring for, no? Next, a contract is a meeting of minds between two persons, no? This is also for you to understand about what contract is all about. By means of word contract, meaning to say there's an agreement, no? Tinuod, a meeting of minds between two persons whereby one binds himself with respect to the other to give something or to render some service. So every organization has a contract. And what is that contract? Of course, sa inyong napapil, no? The contract is the agreement between the two and the two persons whereby one binds himself, meaning to say, pareha na to, no? Mga empleyado. So of course, you are applying for the company, you will be signing a contract, meaning to say, of course, you are giving them the full pledge that you are going to render service. You are going to do your task. So ingon na ang contract. Now, other than that, of course, inside the contract is also the mood or the status of employment, no, nga naa kadiha, on how you are going to get paid, and imo sa mga functions, no, part sa gihapon diha. Obligations. So obligations arising from contracts have the force of law between the contracting parties and should be complied with in good faith. Basta, may check ba? Hello? Pas na ba kayo pas? Sa kustura.
Kustura, sir.
Okay. Please let mo know kung pas-pas na kayo. Pero madungog ra.
Dungog na, sir. Dungog na, sir.
Okay, right now, we're going to proceed with the characteristics of a contract. There must be an offer and acceptance. Of course, no? When there is a hiring, once you are going to conduct hiring, no, recruitment and selection, so of course, there are people who will come to there, who will go there, no, to apply. Now, dire, atong masabtan na sa contract, of course, there is an offer that happens, and at the same time, there's also an acceptance. There must be a clear offer and a clear acceptance for a contract to be binding. Meaning to say, the moment an HR or the moment that an in-charge personnel will present to you a contract, so of course, sit to it, na dili lang kang bitso pirma, no? You have to review also to the contract. You are going to read the contract for you to understand kung unsay naa sa sulod sa contract. As what I've said, that is also the binding, no? That is the binding between the employee and the employer. Now, how does the contract be done, no, by a legal way? So of course, you have to read that one and understand also. If you have a question, you can freely raise your questions about the statement, no, nga imong nabasa to the person in charge. Kanya siya may mapasabot before you are going to sign. Because to sign the contract means you are giving a commitment already. And whatever will be the things that is written in the contract is imong nadawat, imong gidawat og luag sa imong ugalingon. Mabida na gitawag acceptance. Number two, we have consideration is the price paid by one party to the promise of the other. Meaning to say the consideration also, the moment that you are going to demand to them what are the types of things that are needed to be provided, especially. So of course, by means of providing the contract and inviting you to sign that one, it is consideration. There is a consideration already about what is being agreed. Number three, the capacity to contract. The parties to the contract must be over 18 years old of sound mind. Nanang gitawag siya sound mind. Very simple. When we say parang a sound reasoning, when can you say the sound reasoning is sound? When it is logical. So mingon ta sa iyang edad ni 18, sa iyang edad ni 18 years old, no, na may uban the capacity to contract. When can we say that the contract is valid? When can we say that the contract is legally legally siya nga nahatag sa usa ka tawo? Now, it doesn't matter kung nakuha ang tag 18 years old, no, that is the minimum requirement of age to perform, no, sa trabaho. So not all na may ubano nga na may mga kapansanan, so nga na ba, like example na diferensya sa pangisip. So of course ma-invalid ang contract because the purpose of contract is mutual agreement man. Ya walay mutual agreement ngayon tabo because ang usa ka tawo wala siya ka-understand about what he is signing for, it will be useless and meaningless also. There must be no force, misrepresentation or fraud. Like example, diilag ka nga tagaan ka og tibok kalibutan pero katunga ra day datag. No? Sa mga medyo so gani ko ningo natag na ko ning tibok kalibutan. Ya, di ito tibok kalibutan, no, katunga ra day kalibutan. Bitaw no, I'm just kidding about that one. But this is one thing we search. Of course, if there is a misrepresentation, meaning to say they tell something that never happens. They are making promises that is actually wala nila gibuhat. So with that, if you have an evidence about that one, or especially they are writing a statement in the contract, pero wala nila gi-follow. So the negligence, ang kanang negligence nga ilang gibuhat niya is na mga corresponding na mga sanctions. So there must be an obvious intention to create legal relations. So of course, what is an obvious intention? So meaning to say, mabda nang pang-apply ninyong trabaho, no, there's a letter of intent, or they are inviting you to, or they are requiring you to write an intent letter for you, no, in order for the contract to be legalized. A contract must be legal. Of course, it has to be legal. Agreements made between parties concerning illegal drugs and any other illegal activity is not a contract. Mora giingon din, no? So a contract must be legal. It has to undergo a due process. There must be an acceptance between both parties, and at the same time, there must be unsa man. So from the word mutual agreement, meaning to say, you read and you understand what you are signing for. You read and understand kung unsay imong gisudlan, no? Okay? Any question, class? Any question? May pangutan.
Para sir.
Miss kining Josephine Habaga, pangutana Miss Gutierrez, wala may pangutana. Nasabtan ra ang akong discussion. Di man manino. Hello.
Sir.
Miss, kaning mga babae, no, uban. Ako rin di-check class no, naaba. Sige, Miss Baga, do you have a question or none so far?
No, sir.
What about Miss Gutierrez na nadungog na Miss, nasabtan na? Ay, wala ni si Miss Gutierrez. Pero wala siya diha, no? Nag-uni iyang pan, pero wala may response. Okay, Mr. Salinas. Walay
Sir.
pangutana?
Okay ra sir.
Okay.
Sakto naman.
Sige, continue. Now, these are the contents of contracts: mutuality of contracts, obligatory, and enforceability. Okay? So, one by one. So, employment contract, this is the sharing point for the application of the Philippine Labor Code. It refers to the consent of both employer and employee whereby the latter agrees to provide services to the former in consideration of payment of salary or wage. So, that's the employment contract. Meaning to say, katong gimension, no, that's how in the contract, you can actually read and as much as expected na diha ang imong status of employment, no, kanang unsay matang sa imong mga trabaho, sa mga functions nimo, at the same time how much is the salary that you can actually receive in compensation for the effort, in compensation for the service na imo nga gi-offer. Employment contract, employer and employee, the contract shall be in writing and shall include the following: the one, specific description of job, work, or service. So, mga place of work and terms and conditions of employment, including a statement of wage rate applicable to the individual contractual employee and the term and duration of employment. So, naadya, no? Ako na lang dimension. Okay. Employment status of a seafarer. Di na lang tamukuan na ni class, no? Kay mga marine man eh. Ngita ta. The employment contract. So, in the contract of employment entered into the private respondent, petitioners covenanted strict and faithful compliance with the terms and conditions of the standard employment contract approved by the POAA or Philippine Overseas Employment Agency or DOLE, which provides, number one, the employment of the seaman shall cease upon the expiration of the contract. So, of course, itong mga seaman, no? Namoy mga seaman, once the license or kanibang expiration of the contract period will not be renewed. So, of course, the company will no longer be held liable to pay the salary of the person, to provide compensation and benefits. And if in case na mga disgrasya, so of course, there's a possibility that the claimant or the opportunity to claim the compensations and the benefits will be forfeited because of that. So of course, we have to understand about that one. So inana lang gyapon ka sistema lang gyapon, pareha lang gyapon sistema sa organization. When can you say that you are still part of the organization? First and foremost, of course, as long as the contract is still active, both of the parties have an obligation towards each other. Ang company, whatever will be the things that might happen to you, na sila liability, especially if naa diha sa trabahuan, no? So you are functioning you're performing your job, no? Or else kanang contract mangudlas, no? As long as effective pa na siya kas, no one can actually terminate that one sa kanang gitawag nato gana lang. Mingon ka nga kapoy na magtrabaho, bahala ng kontrata, ako na i-breach, no? Mao na nang gitawag no nga once the moment na imuha nga i-violate, like for example, makalit lang kag-undang sa trabaho, no, without formal resignation, without signing or without forwarding a letter, of course, you will be charged with breaching of contract or breach of contract. So, bayad ka na plus. Now, pila may danyo sa damage. Kung pila ang quantity class, kung pila mo ka months or years dito ang inyong contract mo, na bayaran mo, serve as the damage. And it's not including also for the payment of, unsa pa man, the company damage, at the same time, of course, the expenses of your training. So, pabayaran na siya appeal class. So, you have to be very careful about that one. Next, we have marsaman in LLC. Actually, this is just a parallel, but I would wish, no, I would, if it needs me to count more for you to understand better, of course, I'm gonna do that one. Whether employed locally or overseas, all Philippine workers enjoy the protected mantle of Philippine labor and social legislation, contract stipulations to the contrary notwithstanding. So this pronouncement is in keeping with the basic public policy of the state to afford protection to labor, promote full employment, ensure equal work opportunities regardless of sex, race, or creed. and regulate the relations between workers and employees. So, ingon ana no ang employment contract. Now, let's proceed. Repatriation. If the vessel outside the Philippines upon the expiration of the contract, sa superior lang po ibalhin ka sa so right now we are going to proceed with the rights of employee. So we have the coming from the labor code. Now we have 10 major mga rights. Number 1, just and humane condition of work. Kung saan siya? So as long as everything is provided, the compensation and benefits with regards and respectively to the status of employment. So of course, if it is if it is actually possible, no, kanang tawag na to ni pasa siya sa qualifications or ni pasa siya sa qualifications sa requirements sa gobyerno nga dapat ka mo provide, like example pareha ato pag-provide og kanang 13-month pay or bonus. So of course it has to be nga ang scale of industry is, like example, medium ba siya or large, dili small. Kung gagmay mga empleyado, of course you cannot demand them no to actually provide that one, because it would also differ, or it would also look up to the differences in terms of the income capacity of the organization. So the just and humane conditions of work, of course, as long as you are well provided, as long as itong in terms of meal, no, nga mga breaks ana no, nya the payment also, like for example kung panalitan instead of 1 hour jud ang allowance, but because it would cause a loss to the employer kung panalitan nga na mga damage ana, because dili siya pwede kaundangan. Daa sila bayranan nimo, di ba? Ako ang pang-discuss na sila bayranan nimo kana nga time nga gi-shorten or gi-curtail ang imong nga time for taking a break para sa imong lunch break. Living wage or minimum wage. So of course, right now, katong mga katulang mga exceptions, katong mga trabahante o mga umahan, no, katong mga trabahante mga tamnanan, so inana no, you cannot demand them to provide minimum wage, but it would actually depends on the kanabang singkasing sa usa ka tig-iya. Other than that, katong mga if nasa sa tailoring pero house ra nara sa balay, no, so inana mo sa dili ka avail ani. Hours of work. So of course, everybody, it is by nature coming from the law that the minimum working hours of everybody is 8 hours, and everybody has 1 day to rest every week. 1 day rest every week. So dapat i-provide na siya. Okay? Other than that, freedom of association or organization. So, di ba, we mentioned about strike, no? Strike can be legalized if there is kaning gitawag nato consent, no? They're asking consent coming from the kanang mga offices of legislation for them to become legalized, or coming from DOLE. Now they are going to ask an advice on what to go and where to submit the following grievance or complaints sa ilahang organization o sa ilang gitabawan. So of course, it is granted. It is adhering to the law as long as wala lang gikalit-kalit. There is a consent, as what I said, there is a consent that happened. They're asking consent. They're asking an approval. Social security protections. So of course, ato mga PhilHealth and benefits, also social security system to SSS, that's part of it, ng social security protection. So just in case if masakit, so there are available, there is that insurance that are available for the people. Now, freedom of religion or belief. So of course, one can actually kanabang kung sa katao, especially if that particular person is ang iyang gituman, mo yung gituan because lahi man iyang religion. So there is a mutual respect between that situation, no? So you have to respect also sa ilang katungod. Like for example, ang inyong gituan, ingon mo nga ang kumpanya is actually during sinulog, no, in return, no, for their kanabang pagpasalamat sa mga tao, no? Sa patronize sa ilang product, they are going to give kana mga gifts, no, during sinulog. Now it happens nga na ay Muslim diya nga tabante nga ang inyong trabaho kay mahatag mo mga pagkaon ug tubig, but still the motives of that particular program to be conducted is to serve the people during sa sinulog. So of course you cannot force that Muslim uh, individual, no, to participate because they have a different religion compared to us. Freedom of expression. So there is a freedom of expression, but I think, I presume that you already know also sa tuwa nga end kung unsa when to say and when not to say. Now, even though we are living in a country of democracy, but still there are specific considerations that are needed to be considered. Kaya pwede man nga tungod kina abi kay demokrasya ta di man pwede nga pagpakauor na natin istorya pataka-taka ng istorya, no, even without solid evidence. So still na mga considerations. Next, assist to justice and remedies. So of course when there are problems that may arise, no, inside the workplace, or if there are mga misunderstanding that happens, no, between you and towards your employer. So of course, everything has to undergo due process. No? Dili kay magmanlaktod ka, no? Ditso lang dayon. The justice and the remedies, no, on when or in what way the disagreement or kanang misunderstanding will be settled siya. Security of tenure. So of course, what are the things that is to be expected, no? Diha mo within sa organization, nagtrabaho mo sa inyong lauma, no? Kung magdugay na mo diha, kung matiguang na mo, no? Is there something na inyong madot if ever manggani na matiguang mo? Or what are their plans, no? Does the organization actually itself nag-prepare sila for professional, personal, spiritual, emotional growth of that particular employee? So that's part of that, no? Other than that, also by being proactive in bayaran nila ang kanang, like for example, if naambi tay PhilHealth, pag-ibig ng nana, no, as much as possible, that is also part of the security that can actually give us security also, as well as kaning paghatag og promotion. Kung nag-mention tanan na aspect, professional growth, personal growth, that's part of it. So now, security of tenure refers to the right of employee to keep this job and not to be terminated except only for causes allowed under the law. So, ang kaning sa security of tenure, part of that also the class is there must be a legal basis in terminating employee. So, like every organization, as I discussed before, no, sa tuang nga klase sa sinugdanan palangdaan, ninyo na kuno nga ang kanang organization class kining naagid na siya mission, vision, goals. Part sa mission, vision, goals kanang ang corporate values. Kanang corporate values, it will also go in vertical, no, with the in parallel with kaning kung magaling ang mga corporate values diya, mas na po na yung mga policy sa usa ka organization. Diyan na sa gikuha po sa mga do's and don'ts. If it will be find out na wala lay diferensya, no, by means of the compliance sa trabaho, wala lang kay ang buhat na bati sa trabaho. So of course, it's a kaso. If ever ikuan kanila, no, illegal termination. The conditions for the right to security of tenure to apply, existence of employee-employee relationship, the just and authorized process, the due process is the right to be heard. Okay, no? I hope that is for everybody. Number 4, termination of employment, resignation, abandonment. These are the two types. Now let's proceed. So resignation concept. Resignation concept is the voluntary act of employee who is in situation where one believes that personal reasons cannot be sacrificed in favor of the exigency of the service and one has no other choice but to dissociate oneself from employment. So this is the very basic. This is the very important one. So, mo gitong giyon class, as long as you are not filing a formal resignation, of course, you still have an obligation to the company. So, kailangan kang report and you are also bound to their policy. It is a formal pronouncement of relinquishment of an office with the intention of relinquishing the office accompanied by the act of relinquishment. So, madahib, okay? Now, next we have resignation concept. An employee voluntarily resigns when he finds himself in a situation where he believes that personal reasons cannot be sacrificed. We're done. I'm done with this. Let's proceed with na example diyan na case class. I will just let you read about that one. But one thing is for sure, by means of legality and considering the legal procedures, of course, as long as balik ko na ko ha, na kay tulubagong sa kumpanya, kumuundang kagkalit, okay, it's fair, but you will be paying the damages that you have done. Like for example, pagbayad sa training and sa term sa contract. Like for example, 1 year pa lang, yung undang na kanya, ang inyong contract is 2 years. So of course, you will be paying the rest of the year. And it is not included with your kining kasi tawag ani ang ilang nabayad nimo for trainings kana mga trainings nimo nga ilang gikandak nga trainings do moingon ka wa ka manugo ana, but they are providing that one because that is necessary for you to perform your job well. Now if dili nakaganahan, so of course you'll be paying for that. Kaya ana na siya, no? Yes, ana, no? So under section 10 of Republic Act number 8042 of the Migrant Workers and Overseas Filipino Act 1995, in case of termination of overseas employment without just, valid, authorized cause as defined by law or contract, the worker shall be entitled to the full reimbursement of his placement fee with interest at 12% per annum, plus his salaries for the unexpired portion of his employment contract or for 3 months for every year. Meaning to say, kung pila ang naa sa contract, of course, still they are bound to pay. Balikod no, kani ko iputbol ka nga wala sila any ground for you to be football para ma-terminate ka, iputbol ka nila process, you can demand to them, no? You can demand to them that there is the law that protects your right na pwede mo buko nila nga dapat bayaran ka sa ingon ani na napagitubo. So can you imagine about that one? So it's just akong gi-mention, it's not only favoring or it's not only siding to the other party, but also for both parties. Okay? So, I think it's almost time as now na. Walang dyan pila in mahimo class. Now, the only thing that I can say is I would like to thank everybody for those who are around, no, this morning. Please, class, read and read for you to understand. No? Do not just rely on me to work on you. Kaya no, anyway, what I ask for you also